In this video I've put every single freestyle flip reset tutorial I've done on my channel in one video. Through this I've put timestamps in my description and on the video so you can choose which flip reset you want to master. Make sure you like the video and sub to my channel as it brings new people to my videos. So let's try and hit 30 likes on this video to help me out a lot. I'm going to tell you how to do multiple heli flip resets. I'm going to be using this training pack in the video. I have a video of the best camera settings for flip resets for you to check out in my description. To start with, you need to be able to stall and flip reset normally. I've got tutorials for both of these in my description on my channel. There are two main stages for this mechanic, the setup and the reset, so I'll go over both of these in this video. The setup is similar to the multiple flip reset setup, where you do a small break on the ball and then fly up towards the ball. If you can't do this setup, watching my flip reset tutorial in my description will help a lot. But instead you want to start turning your car with your joystick just before you get the first reset. This will help you get your second reset and third and fourth and fifth, etc. And the position of your car on the ball can be a bit different too. I have a photo on screen now showing where your car needs to be on the ball for the first flip reset. You position your car here so the ball flies upwards and is in the perfect position for the next reset. I would say the setup is one of the most important stages for anything, and especially this mechanic. So make sure you put a lot of time and effort into practicing the setup. Your second reset will determine how many resets you get after it, so this stage is really important. You want to position your car exactly underneath the ball where it will travel, but the distance underneath the ball is important. For example, if I go too far underneath the ball, you'll get a very soft touch on the flip reset and struggle to recover. It's better be too close to the ball run rather than too far away. It's really hard to position your car underneath the ball while spinning, but you can boost while spinning to change your position a bit. Your positioning underneath the ball will only come with practice, so make sure you practice a lot. There's not too much technique in this mechanic, it's more just practicing. The first flip reset and the first stall reset is really important to master, then after that it's basically just grinding and getting as many as possible, and it takes hours and hours, so make sure you just go into a training pack and grind it. When you do the stalls, you need to be able to do stall cancels. This is when you use your other air roll to make your car completely flat when you do a stall. This is so you can get a flip reset of the ball very cleanly. If you can't do this or don't know what to do or what I mean, I've got a stall tutorial in my description where I'll show you how to do this. After you get the second flip reset consistently, the reset is mainly just grinding and a lot of practice. So I recommend you downloading this training pack and consistently grind it. If you master all the different mechanics inside this, it'll be a lot easier. For example, mastering the setup, mastering the second reset, mastering the stalling, and all of that separately. And if you I'm going to tell you how to do a wave dash flip reset. Here's the training pack I use in this video. I'm trying to hit 40 likes on this video, so make sure you like the video as it helps me get this video out to new people. To start with, I recommend being able to flip reset and knowing how to wave dash normally on the floor. This mechanic is one of those mechanics where it's very hard when you first try it, but the more you grind it, the more consistent it will be, and then you'll just find it really easy and consistent. So if you're struggling to start with, just keep going, you'll find it soon. To do a wave dash on the ball, you want to be very close to the ball when doing the wave dash, as if you're too close, you'll jump off the ball, and if you're too far away, you'll flip into the ball and just not get any reset or wave dash at all. The ball would just be hit away. What I do is go a bit slower up the ball than I would for a normal flip reset. Then I brake lighter on the ball than I would for a normal flip reset. So I stay close to the ball doing these two things. Then I don't air roll or do anything. All I do is just lean back and boost up to the ball. Then when I'm in a good position and a good distance away from the ball, I just flip into the ball, so I do a wave dash. So the main points to bring away from that is go slower up the ball than you normally would and do less of a break on the ball than you normally would. This means you'll be overall closer to the ball with control of your car. I would recommend doing a small break, as if you just jump up with the ball, it's probably going to be a lot harder. When you do the actual wave dash, it's important you don't do it directly under the ball, and you do it kind of to the side and under of the ball, if you know what I mean. This means that the ball will be popped forwards and upwards instead of just upwards and your car downwards, if you know what I mean. And that's basically everything for this mechanic. As I said, it's not that complex, there's just a few little things that you have to master. Basically the distance away from the ball you are. And when I say I literally just lean back and boost up and flip, that's literally all I do. I don't do anything else. So I recommend just grinding that out. If you've got any questions, ask me below. So just in a training pack, do this for ages and you'll eventually get it. After you get one attempt, you'll keep going on and on and on, getting really consistent attempts. So make sure to like and sub to my channel. And I've also got training packs and settings in my description for you to check out, because that's really useful as well. And I'll see you in the next one. This flip reset can be difficult, but I'll give you all the tips you need to be able to do it easily. Like and sub to this video if you find this video helpful. I'll be using this code in the video and you can do this off the ceiling. I'd recommend being able to Murie Reset, which I've got tutorials on my channel and a link in my description. The first thing you need to know, like a musty flick, you need to have your car more than 90 degrees. Another tip I have that helped me a lot is I tilt my car upwards a tiny bit. You can still flip forwards from this and you have less distance and motion to actually get the flip reset. If you put your car upwards a bit and then flip, it's a lot easier than having your car completely flat and flipping, as there's less flip motion to get the reset. I normally always jump off the ceiling instead of just boosting down from the ceiling. Unlike other resets like the Murie resets, I do this by jumping off, because you need to be very low down to get the reset, as your car takes forever to flip. It's the same as if you've ever tried a musty flick into a flip reset. It's a lot harder because you've got more of a motion. So I recommend jumping down from the ceiling and then flipping, as it's a lot easier to get the flip reset. Same principle as a Murie reset, you need to have your car to be in line with the ball, so you flip forwards and go into the ball. If your car's not in line with the ball when you flip, you're just not going to get the reset at all. A bit like musty flick double touches, I hold back on my joystick after I flip, so my car doesn't over rotate and it's in the perfect position for the flip reset. Most of the time you won't need to do this, as you'll just go into the ball straight away. But if you practice doing this in free play without the ball first, this helps you out a lot. And that might be confusing, I've recapped that quickly. But you want to, after your flip timer is over, you want to hold down the joystick. This makes it so your car doesn't over rotate. To get a flip reset, you want your car to be completely flat. But if you don't do this cancel, your car will be like a 45-degree angle and you won't get the reset. So you always want to make sure you do this, your car is completely flat after you've done the flip. There's not much else to say for this mechanic, so I recommend you grind it for ages, as it's very hard to do. And if you've got any questions, ask me down below, as I'll help you. And as I said as well, I've got tutorials all over my channel to help you as well. I've got musty flick tutorials, I've got ceiling shot tutorials, I've got flip reset tutorials, there's everything on my channel. It's the main video I do, so I've literally got every mechanic, so if you want to have any help with any of those. If you want to be able to do the shot, I have a few tips to make you instantly be able to do it. And I'll be showing you these tips in this video. I'll go over pogos a bit in this video, but you have to be able to pogo normally to be able to do this. I've got a lot of tutorials on my channel on how to do pogos and improve your mechanics in general. I'll be using this pack in the video. There are two ways of doing this, either getting the reset before you pogo, it's the easiest and more effective, or doing it while you pogo, it's the hardest but can be most effective if done correctly and consistently. The first tip I have is to flip reset near the middle or top of the ball. This is so your car will stay in the same position and your ball will be able to hit closer to the floor. Where if you're too low on the ball, your car will just get out of control and you'll land on your turtle. So again, to recap, I'd recommend hitting the top or middle of the ball, as that makes a better contact on the ball. This is obvious if you can flip reset, but you need to have a good contact with the ball, otherwise you won't get a flip reset. So I recommend to make a bit of a distance between your car and the ball. When you've got a gap between the ball, you want to boost into the ball and lean back to have enough speed to get a good contact. Having a good contact will also help the pogo out a lot as well. This will make the shots more fast as well, so it's harder for your opponent to get towards the ball. Another thing I recommend is you air dribble forwards instead of upwards, as you have a lot more likelihood to get the flip reset if you speed towards the ball forwards rather than upwards. Because if you're air dribbling upwards, you won't get a good contact, and it'll also be very slow, what's not viable in comp. So make sure you're boosting forwards and air dribbling forwards, as it's a lot faster and cleaner. I normally get the reset of the car in a position of a pogo, so my car can immediately fall down into the floor with the best position for the pogo. You don't have to do this, as you can just reposition your car, but I do recommend this as it helps you out massively, and it's quite an inconvenience to always reposition your car, so you may as well just put it in the pogo position on the flip reset. There isn't much else to this mechanic, but one last thing I recommend is mastering mechanics inside of this mechanic. For example, the pogo, mastering that separately and improving your general mechanics a lot, improving your air dribble and improving your pogo recoveries and a lot of those things. I've got tutorials all over my channel if you want to. If you want to do this mechanic, watch this video. This is a training pack I'll use in this video. You need to be able to flip reset and have a very good overall mechanics. I'm going to go over how you do this reset. Remember, all a flip reset is just flying into the ball really fast with a good position and a good contact. A lot of people go too slow into the ball and never get the reset. This shot is hard because when you turn your car around, you can't really get a good position on the ball. What therefore slows down your car, meaning it's hard to get the reset because you have to turn your car around and you can't just boost into it. So to prevent this, all you have to do is boost a lot more before turning your car around. This is pretty self-explanatory, but you need to turn your car around so all four wheels hit the ball. But the hardest part is where you need to place your car on the ball. There is two options to either get a musty after the reset or a touch after the reset that's like an air dribble. For both of these you want your car very low on the ball, but for the musty you want to be more towards the back of the ball, back mid of the ball, where if you want to touch after the reset you want to be more underneath the ball so the ball pops up in the air. After you get the reset, it's all down to your mechanics. I'd recommend doing a musty flick straight after as your car is in the perfect position. In this tutorial I'm going over how to do the Jakze flip reset, and the code I'll be using in this video is on screen now and in description. A quick disclaimer, if you use right air roll or go off the right wall, I'm showing examples of me using left air roll and going off the left wall, so just use the opposite of what I say in this video. Before trying this, I recommend having really good overall mechanics, being decently well at doing multiple resets, and also doing Maktuf resets helps a lot, but it's not a must to learn. The first step I'll be going over is going into free play, and without the ball, just jumping, going upside down and air rolling a bit. There isn't an exact amount to go for, but I'll be showing on screen now the air roll I do. The air roll is vital because this makes the motion of what your car does to get the reset. The next step is after you're upside down and have the air roll, you need to front flip cancel. But how the front flip cancel goes depends a lot on your air roll at the start. If you air roll too much, this will happen. And if you air roll too little, this will happen. You're probably thinking just this flip alone doesn't actually look like a Jakze reset, so I'll quickly explain a few more steps that make it look like one. Something that will make your car more like the motion of the Jakze reset is after you flip cancel, you need to gently push your joystick to the side. You don't want to push it completely to the side, but you want to push it to the corner of where you've done your flip cancel. So either bottom left or bottom right, depending whether you use aero left or right. And I'll be showing what I use on screen now for any aero left users. For PC players, this step is really easy, but for any controller players, this step is a lot harder, and I've got my controller overlay on the screen if you've got any problems. So I'll go on to the next step now, but if you've got any questions about this stage, comment below and I'll answer. After you can get the previous step down, now after you do your flip, just after, air roll a tiny bit. This will make your air roll that you did previously go away and make your flip look a lot cleaner, and when you get the reset, your car will be completely flat. The reason I said doing the Maktuf at the start would be the best is because it's got the same principle of doing the air roll to make the car more flat. So if you can do the Maktuf, you'll understand this reset a lot more. You don't want to hold air roll for too long, but you don't want to tap it for too short either. And if you hold it too quickly, your car will do a flip instead of doing the flip you actually want. And if you do it too late, your car will have a really unclean movement and it won't look good at all. So you need to hold on to the air roll for the perfect amount of time, and you also want to time when you press the air roll so it's as clean as it can be. If you can already do the Maktuf reset, this stage won't be too difficult. But if you've never tried the Maktuf, this would be quite hard. So I've got my controller overlay and showing you what I do. So if you can't do it properly, just look at that. When you can do the flip consistently without the ball, now go into the training pack and try it with the ball. This is definitely the hardest stage of this tutorial. It becomes a lot harder than you think it does with the ball. Same with every mechanic. So make sure you are very patient as it will take a lot of time. But to tell you a few tips to hit it in less time. A lot of people find slow motion help them a lot to hit new mechanics. So make sure to try this if you haven't already. When you get your reset, you want to hit a little bit further back on the ball. This is so the ball moves forwards a bit, and when you flip, you're going forwards into the ball. The Jakze flip, whenever you flip, you go forwards. So if the ball is right above you, you won't get to the ball. So make sure you hit the ball out in front and flip towards it. It's the same with how high the ball is compared to your car. If the ball is too high up compared to your car, you will get to the ball but not get the reset because you're too much underneath it. So make sure you get to the back of the ball, but make sure your car is semi-close to your ball compared to the height. If the ball is too low, it will just hit your car, and if it's too high, your car won't touch the ball. So make sure it's the perfect height in between that your car will get the reset with the ball. There's nothing else in this tutorial. Make sure to sub and like if it helped, and I'll see you next time. If you've got any questions, in this video I'll be telling you how to do a flip reset off the wall nearly instantly. And if you want to see how I found this mechanic, make sure to check the video in the description below on the top right hand of the screen, and that will show you the journey how I found this mechanic. Being a little less viable than the Fetelix, this mechanic is already 2 times faster than the Fetelix with only minimal amounts of attempts. And I'll get into the tutorial now. Before trying this mechanic, you have to be able to ground reset and have really good overall mechanics. The first step is doing the ground reset, but trying to do it on the wall and jumping from the floor. The timing of the flip is key to this, and using boost is really helpful to gain momentum. You also have to tilt your car a bit on the wall, so you are the perfect angle to being able to get the reset when you flip. When you can do the reset that I just said before, now try it but jumping from the lip of the wall and then do it. The timing on this is a lot harder, but I'll give you a few more tips to do this. Before you jump off the lip of the wall, you have to be basically driving forwards on there. This is so your car is in a better angle to get the reset. This is because if you go basically head on onto the wall, you won't be able to get the reset as it's too much of an angle. But jumping from the lip of the wall is beneficial as it saves time and boost. When you do the flip, you want to make sure that your car is the same angle as it was for the reset before, what's basically a 45-degree angle, otherwise you won't get your flip. There's a place on the lip of the wall that you have to be jumping. If you jump too low, your car won't actually reach the wall, and if you jump too high, not all 4 wheels will lift off the wall. On a Fetelix, you only want 2 wheels to lift off the wall. On this, you want all 4 to reach off the wall. So make sure you don't jump too high that your car doesn't lift off. The higher you jump on the lip of the wall, the more time you save and the less boost you waste. Therefore, if you jump lower on the wall, you'll spend more time in the air and therefore waste more boost. The higher you jump off the wall, the less consistent it will be and a lot harder to time, and the lower you jump off the wall, the easier it is to time and the easier it is overall. But obviously you do get off the wall loads faster if you jump higher, so you need to find the perfect position to jump. That's everything for this tutorial. If you've got any questions, ask me below. Like and sub to my channel, it helps me out a lot. I do think in the future there will be a mechanic where you only have one wheel leave the wall and you can get the reset off that. But for the moment I think this is the fastest possible way you can get off the wall. It may not be as viable as the Fetelix, but I do think it is still really cool to learn. In this video I'm going to show you how to do a 360 Maktuf Reset. I'll be using this code in the video, or it's in the description below. You have to be able to Maktuf Reset. I'd prefer if you could do it consistently, but it doesn't matter too much. But you'll find it so much easier if you can do it consistently. Knowing how to heli still helps a lot because of the motion of it and also the positioning when you get the reset, so it doesn't matter too much. Knowing how to multiple flip reset and having a very good first reset helps massively as well, so make sure you can do all of these before you start. You need extremely good mechanics for this shot. If you don't have good mechanics you won't hit it, if you've got good mechanics you'll hit it, and don't think you've got better mechanics than you can do already. It is a massive shot, so don't expect you to hit it straight away. I find this mechanic's different on everyone depending how you do the normal Maktuf Reset, so make sure that you don't follow these steps exactly how I show them. Do it your way and how you do it. After you get your flip reset, point your car in this position. It needs to be air rolled a bit so when you do the movement you can do the Maktuf. This is important you do this position because this is how the 360 will actually look like. I'd say that every freestyler's starting position is different. I'd find what feels best for you and what looks the best as well. Don't just make it what feels the best, make it look the best as well. Everyone's starting position is similar, but everyone's is a tiny bit different in a way. But everyone's is similar in the way that it actually looks like a 360 Maktuf. Using your joystick, move your car in a 360 motion into position that you would do the Maktuf. And what I mean by this is, it's basically the position you would go into a Maktuf, but you actually get to the Maktuf in a different way. Instead of going to the ball and going straight backwards, you do a different motion to get to the Maktuf. And by this, it's doing the 360 motion before you get to it. Everyone's position from where they flip from is completely different. I'd still say it's really similar, but I'd find the position that you actually do your normal Maktufs in. So I'd get a clip of you doing a Maktuf, pause it when you just do the flip, and from when you just do the flip, I'd get into that position from this shot as well. So do the 360 motion and get into that position where you do the normal Maktuf, if you know what I mean. Start without the ball and just trying the flip by yourself. You'll get quite consistent quite quickly because it's so much easier to do this than it is with the ball. So I'd recommend getting really consistent at it before you actually go with the ball, and I'll show you my controller overlay in a second. If you're struggling, here's my joystick and the motion I do on my controller. You've probably found out by now that it's not actually that much different to a normal Maktuf. It's just how you get to the Maktuf, and this would just come with a lot of practice. It's not really that easy to do. Like, you might think it's a lot easier than you think, but it is actually quite hard to get because of the motion, and where you actually hit on the ball is so important. And if you're still struggling after all of those steps, compare your shots, well, your fail, to mine in the video as well, and then you can see what you're doing wrong, what joystick movement you're doing wrong, etc, etc. Or worst comes to worst, you send a GIF your game link into my comment section and I'll have a look at that, and then I'll tell you what to do differently. Being able to do the flip beforehand is the very easy part. Being able to get the reset and also getting the flip into the reset is extremely difficult, and this will come with a lot of patience, a lot of practice, and I'll explain a bit now of how to get it. You need to hit the ball in around the same position as the Maktuf, but make sure the ball goes a bit higher and a tiny bit in front. This is so you have got time to do the 360 motion instead of just going backwards. So make sure the ball goes a bit higher and a bit further out. To get the ball to go high, you need to have more speed into the first flip reset. This is done by boosting a bit more into the ball, and this will make the ball go a bit higher for you as well. I found this shot is more of a shot that you analyse, try and then copy yourself. So comparing it with another freestyler's shot and then just changing yours a bit. This is how I did it. I asked a few people for the general way to do it. Then I compared myself to another freestyler's one and then just went from there really. When you get your first flip reset, hitting a tiny bit behind the ball will make the ball go in a better position. This is so it will go a bit in front and a bit higher as well when you boost more. This will be in a perfect position for you to actually get the next reset. Some people also say it's kind of the same position as a Heli reset as well. So just keep experimenting and see what works best for you. As you've probably figured out, there isn't actually too much difference between this and the Maktuf, but the actual setup at the start of it is a lot harder and it requires a lot more space as well. So just practice a lot and you'll finally get it, because if you can already do the Maktuf, that's one of the hardest parts already. Just having the time to do the 360 motion is impossible. To make your reset face forwards, cancel your reset later so it turns your car more around. On the actual Maktuf resets, you probably cancel your reset a lot earlier. But if you cancel your reset a lot earlier on this shot, I found more of the time your car won't be facing forwards. So I decided to cancel my car a bit later so I can face forwards. For you this might be different, it might just work best when you do the normal cancelling. But for me, this is a tip that I have. This shot is extremely hard, so be very patient with it. It's going to take ages to do, it will take a lot of nights, and it won't just happen one night. You'll have progress every single day and you'll definitely score it. Any questions, ask below and I'll reply to all of them. And this is the video.
I'm going to go over how to Fetelix Jump. I don't know how to say it properly, but I think that's how you say it.
It's a new mechanic, it's really cool and I definitely recommend you learn it. I'll be using this pack in the video. Before I start, you need to be able to long air dribble so you can recover the ball really well. There's not really any other mechanics you need to be able to do for this, so I recommend having really good mechanics as well. Go to shot 1 or 2 in the pack and start by the first step, what's popping up with your jump. I'll explain more how to do this in the second slide. It doesn't really matter what angle your car is at when you do it. Some people do it straight on, some people do it at an angle, but I prefer it at an angle. You want to be jumping with your back wheel on the advert banner, and I'm showing a black line where you want to be doing the jump. This will make your car pop upwards but not make your car come off the wall. If you jump too late, your car will do this and come off the wall, and this means your car won't be able to do the actual mechanic. This happens when you jump too early and your car just doesn't come off the wall at all. So you want it in the middle of too early and too late. When you can do this step consistently, move on to the next step. If you can't, carry on attempting this until you can do it. The next step is getting the reset on the wall without using the ball. After you get the first pop, you need to side flip depending on what wall you're on. I'll explain now. If you're on the right wall, side flip to the left. If you're on the left wall, side flip to the right. Just before your front wheels hit the wall, that's when you need to side flip, or when they do hit the wall. This will get your car off the wall and get your reset. I'm not really sure how it gets the reset, but all I know, it does get the reset. When you can do the last stage that I just shown, do it with the ball. I'd recommend being semi-consistent at them before you go onto the ball. You want to hit the ball upwards from the pop you do to get the reset. And what I mean by that is, you don't want to hit the ball up then try and do the pop. You want to do the pop, and whilst your pop is happening, you want your pop to hit the ball upwards whilst your car like faces in that angle, then you do the side flip. If you watch my clip slowly, you'll get what I mean. The reason why you need to be able to long air dribble is because of the recovery. You need to be able to hit under the ball and gain height on them, because your car will be on a random position. This also helps if you've got really good mechanics to recover towards the ball. This is a really hard part of the mechanic. The recovery is one of the harder parts of the mechanic. This is where you need actual mechanics for the shot. I don't think the pop itself you need many mechanics, but for the recovery you definitely do. And you also might need to be able to musty flick to actually have enough boost to score it in actual matches. This mechanic is still very new, so there might be massive points I'm missing out. I'd recommend checking other tutorials as well, just to see if I've got different things to them or they've got different things to me. Another thing is you can diagonal flip instead of doing the side flip. This basically does the same thing, but it doesn't really matter at all. So you choose, it's personal preference. The mechanic is very hard and inconsistent, so when you first start, be very patient. It won't take one night, it will take a couple of days, so make sure you're very patient. If you master the very basics of the shots, when you can't do the last step, it will be a lot easier, so make sure you're mastering the first steps. Nothing else to say, but if you have any questions, ask down below and I'll help you out. This is a training code I use for the shot, but I'll use free play in this video. And this is a tutorial on how to Maktuf Reset. You need very good mechanics to do this. I've got a video in the description on how to improve your mechanics for PC and how to improve them for console, so check my description if your mechanics aren't very good. I recommend learning how to musty flick before doing this shot, because the 90-degree thing with the musty flick is the same with this shot too, so it's useful to know. Knowing how to Murie Reset helps as well with the backflip cancel and doing the 90-degree thing and all of that. Being able to do all kinds of flip resets helps a lot with the positioning and all of that stuff. So I'd recommend learning how to stall reset and rapid reset and stuff like that before. So you must be able to do the first reset very well, because this is the main part of the shot, I think. And the first reset's the main part of any flip reset, I think. In the link in bio I have a shot on how to do the first reset and how to get multiple resets too. But I very highly recommend that you watch this if you can't do the first reset properly, or if you're not that good at the first reset, because it helps more than you think for this shot, and it's link in bio. It says multiple resets, but it's how to do the first reset a lot in the video, and how to do multiple later on if you want to learn that too. You need to have aero binded. I have it on aero left and right as shown now. Here's my camera settings if you wonder, or go on my link in bio for all of my settings. So step 1 is to have a very good first reset and to get under into the side of the ball like shown. You need to make your car at this angle after the reset. Make sure it's past 90 degrees, so when you flip, you actually go forwards instead of just back flipping. This is very vital. I can't explain how to make this angle, but you need to try yourself and learn the movements yourself. But after a bit of messing around with it, you'll start to learn the movement of how to get to the position. If you're on Steam, use this workshop map. If you're console, just use free play. Start with your car flat upside down and learn the movement to angle your car into position, like shown. Use free play if you're in console. I find if you can see your headlights, that means your car is more than 90 degrees, so this will help a lot. Pause the video and try and get the same angle. Use free play after if you have learnt how to get the angle. Before I show you how to get the flip, turn unlimited flips on Back's mod, then go into free play and practice. You can turn on unlimited flips here on Back's mod. This is for PC only. I'll show you the console version now. If you're console or don't have Back's mod, do this instead, because it gets the flip reset and it's just easier. It's just easier than jumping then doing it, as you don't have much time. So getting off the post and getting the reset helps. When you're in position, do a back flip cancel like shown. Keeping the flip cancelled helps a lot, so don't uncancel your flip. Still without the ball, do the back flip cancelled, but now you're in the car position before. Now tap or hold arrow to make the car more flat so it's easier to get the reset and it looks cleaner. Make sure you don't uncancel your reset when you're doing this, otherwise it will just mess up. Now practice with the ball with all steps just shown. It will be really hard at first, don't worry if you're not getting it properly. This is when all of the steps is together like shown. If you're struggling, start from the beginning again and focus on getting the 90-degree angle, well, more than 90-degree angle, and getting the angle on the car correct. And when you're in the air, focus on just getting the angle on the reset. I recommend mastering the movement before doing it with the ball, otherwise you'll fail for longer. This would take ages to learn, not a quick one, and the better your mechanics are, the easier you would do this shot. So make sure you work on mechanics, link in bio. Be patient. If you have any questions, ask below. I'll answer all of them and I'm happy to do so. And if this helped, like and sub to the channel because it helps a lot for the algorithm and just to make me grow. That's the end of this video, but it's probably not 8 minutes yet. If it is, I'll just stop the video here, but I'll explain more about what my future of this channel is because I haven't uploaded for ages. I'm not really playing Rocket League at the moment. I'm not really finding it fun at all, so I'm playing other games at the moment. But Forza Horizon 5's dropping soon and I'll probably play that a lot. So I'm thinking of doing videos of different games like Quiplash or Forza Horizon 5 or GTA or other stuff. I'm not sure if they do well at all because I don't know anything about the algorithm and stuff with those games. So I'll see if they do well or not. If they do well, I'll carry on uploading them. If not, I'll do Rocket League videos occasionally still. So I'm planning to come back, so I can do like different tutorials, different stuff, so I'm not coming back a lot, so I'll do 1 or 2 videos a week probably 1, and college is starting soon, so I can't be too active again. So tell me what you think, if this is a good idea or not, but I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully it'll be out soonish, and see you. Here's the training pack code I'll be using for the video. Now to the Heli Reset tutorial, and I'll explain how to do it and the best settings and things like that. You need to have both air rolls binded for the stool. You'll see why later on in the video. If you want to know my settings, I've got a settings and presets video on my channel. You need to have your controller dead zone at 0.2 to 0.5. Mine is 0.3. It needs to be this high because this is the only way you can stall. The lower it is the harder it is to stall. The higher it is easier to stall but harder to move your car. So you need to choose which one you want, and I recommend 0.3. Knowing how to 360 stall off the ceiling helps a lot too. I don't have a tutorial on this, but it's something you can learn by yourself after knowing how to heli stall. Knowing how to triple or double reset helps a lot, and I've got a tutorial for this in my bio if you're interested and wanted to learn this. If you can't heli stall or don't know how to, watch my tutorial on it. I did. It's in my link in my bio or on the screen now. Having closer camera settings can help some people too, but it doesn't help everyone. Here is my camera settings if you want to copy them. Having very good mechanics is a must need for this types of reset. If you don't have good mechanics, there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube. I've got one, but it's quite old and I wouldn't recommend it. You need to start your setup here. Closer to goal makes it easier to score, and it's better for boost management and easier to get the reset. You don't want to start from the mid boost because it's harder to get the resets and it takes more boost to get to the goal, and you want to push the ball outwards, not frontwards, if you get what I mean, and that makes it much easier to get the resets pushing it outwards. Now open the training pack I showed you at the beginning of the video, and let's start the tutorial now on how to do the shot. I'll start the video with the double heli stall, then carry on with the triple one later on. I asked this Neptic lead freestyler called Ben. He's very good at these heli stall resets for some tips to put in this video. And he can do around 7 or 8 of them in game, and he's actually mad at them, so I definitely recommend taking these tips to advice and using them. He's a mental player, very good at everything. You've probably seen him in the Pulse tournament, and he's got socials for Twitter, Instagram and everything. And I've put all his links down below, and 100% check him out, he's insane. And I'll carry on with his tips now. It's on the screen now, so read it if you don't want to listen, and I'll read it out as well. So when starting the heli stall, don't reset normally, heli spin before the reset. Try using both air rolls left and right to make the heli stalls look cleaner. Helis don't use much boost, so try and save as much boost as possible. So going from the corner is easier for boost management and getting the first reset. If you haven't read it all already, I'll pause the video now as I need to get on to the main tutorial and give you more tips throughout this video. And I'll get into the pack now and tell you which ones you need to do. So if you go to shot 1, this is the one I'll be using, and this is just on the front boost, little boost pads, and I'd recommend this one. This one's on the corner, so this can be easier with boost management and getting the first reset. So I'd recommend this one as well. There's personal preference, this one or shot 1. On shot 2 and 4 it's the other way round, so on the other wall. So if you like going off the other wall, definitely go on 2 and 4. And if you like the wall that's not on this one, do 1 and 3. The setup is very, very important. You need to go high up but not touching the ceiling, and don't go low near the floor either. Just like the multiple flip reset one, you need to do a break on the ball so then it's easier to get to the ball and going under the ball. Whatever way you turn is decided with the stall you do. For example, if you do air roll left with the stall, you need to turn to the right, and if you do air roll right with the stall, you need to turn left. This is so you can spin and do the stall at the same time. Start turning your car before the first reset. Don't do a full turn, but do a small one as shown now on the screen. Being able to triple reset will help getting the resets in the heli stalls a lot. For example, the positioning when you get the stall resets, and also the setups are very important and it will help a lot. Make sure your stalls are completely flat when you do it. This will help getting the reset, it will help popping the ball up, and just in general it helps a lot. You can do them without getting a flat stall, but with flat stalls it just makes it easier to get the reset, more consistent when you get the reset, and many more advantages. As I said earlier on in the video, I have got a tutorial on how to do heli stalls if you can't do them already. I would put them in this video, but it would make the video a lot longer, and you need to know how to normal stall and stall cancel before doing the heli stalls. And there's 3 parts of the stall tutorial, and heli stalls right at the end, and it's first link in my description, so definitely go and check that out if you can't do the heli stall already. Your first reset needs to go upwards, not outwards, so getting the next reset is a lot easier when it goes upwards. This happens when you hit the ball outwards, not upwards. As you can see, I can't get the next reset, and the ball's just out of position for me to do the heli stall. This happens when you hit under the ball and it pops the ball up, making it much easier to get the second reset, because when you heli stall it will just go upwards and you can't go outwards when you do heli stalls. Because when you're doing the spins you can't really fly outwards to get to the ball, whereas on the multiple resets normally you can just boost forwards and get to any of them. When the heli stalls it needs to go upwards because your car can't go forwards, it can only do the spins where the ball is, so you must pop it upwards. This mechanic takes a lot of time to learn, so be patient, and maybe learning it in slow-mo first in a private match can help. Cam work is very simple. The cam is in the bottom left of the screen. Ball cam all the way, then just before you hit the ball, go into car cam. This makes the clip cleaner and more likely for you to get into teams. As I always say, the better mechanics you have, the easier any shot will be. So make sure you have very, very good mechanics and it will make the shot 10 times easier. Try and make your car as flat as possible. Not a lot tilted, and upright position when you're getting the first reset or any reset. Otherwise your car will just spaz around and the ball will go down, your car will go down, and all round it won't be as clean and much harder to get. The main points for this. First reset is very, very important, so you must learn that. Knowing how to heli stall is very important, and making the ball above you, not in front of you. This helps the most with the second reset. Because if it's in front of you then you can't get to the ball, and if it's above you, you can easily get to the ball. If you have any questions or worries, just ask me below. I answer everything to my full ability, and I want to help you, don't be scared to ask anything. There's not much else to say for this except just grind it and improve your mechanics. Knowing how to do multiple of normal resets helps a lot with positioning, and just in general work on that first reset and mechanics. And I'll get into the multiple one of this shot now. I'm going to pause the video here to say that 91% of you aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you could go down below, hit the bell and sub to the channel, it would be greatly appreciated. I do weekly tutorials and general videos on Rocket League, and it would just mean a lot if you subbed and liked my videos, and hopefully see you in the future ones. Now for the triple heli stall pass of the tutorial. You need to be very consistent at double heli stalls before trying the triples. You have to be able to triple reset before trying the heli stalls as well. You need a lot better mechanics for the triples and the doubles. 100% work on your mechanics before trying triple heli stalls. The setup needs to be a bit faster so the ball goes higher up, so you have more time to do the resets, but make sure you don't hit the ceiling when doing it. A lot better at getting flat stalls and a lot more consistent at stalling will help a lot doing this as well. Your second reset needs to pop the ball upwards instead of outwards as well, so the first needs to pop the ball upwards. That will make the second easier, and then the third a bit easier as well. Practicing the third in slow-mo can make it a lot easier to learn, or use backsmod slow-mo, then gradually get closer and closer to the normal speed with backsmod. That helps as well. Having flat heli stalls to pop the ball upwards. If the stall tilts to the side, it might pop the ball outwards where you can't get to it. Not tilting or air rolling before the second reset, just turning to the side can make it easier to make your stalls a flatter and therefore easier to get. Triple helis are more of a grind than the double ones, so be patient. It won't be a day, it will take a few days. Then also after your first one, you'll get a lot more, then you'll start to be more consistent at them. Leaning your car slightly forwards before the first reset can help not make the ball have much height on it and therefore easier to get the second reset. Try and get not much height on the resets as it's easier to get more resets when the bounce isn't very high in the air. So the lower the ball goes off the reset, it's easier to get the resets. Cam work is the same as before. I didn't do cam work in this clip. It's not essential, but it makes the clip cleaner and therefore better for clans. There's nothing else to say except it's a massive grind, and improving all your mechanics will help a lot with this. And also practicing the double helis until you're very consistent at them helps a lot. And maybe getting control like an air dribble or something after the double helis will help getting enough control to do the third reset as well, or a musty after the double heli, it doesn't really matter. But that's it for this tutorial. Thanks a lot for watching, hopefully it's helped, and see you in the future. Welcome back to a new tutorial, and in this one we'll be doing backboard resets, and we will be doing double backboard resets as well. So here are all the packs I'll be using. All of these are useful to just download and keep for yourself and to practice these mechanics. One of them is just a ball standing still to practice your multiple backboard resets. One of them's one from a pass, and the other one's from a pass as well, but from a different angle. So you've got every angle and one of them as the ball standing still. So you want to start with face packs, the one where the ball's just standing still, and practice just getting 4 wheels on the ball and recovering to hit the ball again with your flip. It's going to be hard at first, but just with a grind it will be good. Make sure your car's got a bit of an angle leaning backwards. This makes the ball go upwards and forwards. It also makes it easier to get 4 wheels on the ball and therefore getting the flip reset. Make sure you hit all 4 wheels or the middle of your car so it gets a flip reset like shown on screen now. Now on the same pack, on face pack, skip another shot and it will be the ball bouncing on the floor and moving upwards. This is basically the same shot as before, but the ball moving upwards. This will help a bit more and be a bit harder, so good luck. Now for silences pack. This pack is a lot harder than the one before. This is from a pass from the side, or you can use TX's shots where the pass is from the middle, but I recommend learning this one first. As this pack's very hard, I'll give you some tips on how to improve with this pack and with this shot overall. Not just the backboard reset, but with the setup as well. Take in mind that the setup can be as important as the backboard reset. And this is a perfect setup every time, so in game it will be a lot harder. You can use Backsmod plugins to make the ball different speeds each time, but at first I recommend just using this default pack. You also need to be able to be very good at double taps normally, before you go on to backboard resets like this. Before I get into it, you need to have very good mechanics for this. As I said before, double taps, redirects, all of those mechanics and basic mechanics you need to know how to do, and you can improve this by doing this on workshop maps. I've got tutorials on it in my description on how to improve it on Xbox and any console and on PC, so definitely check those out if your mechanics aren't good enough yet for this. So now let's get into the actual shot. You need to hit the very back and very bottom of the ball. This is so it goes high and faster. You need it to be going high and fast so it goes on your 4 wheels and gets the reset easier, and higher up so it's easier to hit the ball in and not be near the floor. After you redirect the ball towards the ball, it's easier to just not air roll, as you'll see what I'm doing now. You can air roll to the ball, but in my opinion it's easier to do this, and it's easier to have the leaned back on your car so you get the reset as well. You need to be jumping late, so when your car goes upwards and hits the ball, the car's right at the back of the ball. You can jump earlier and do this, but it's just harder and you won't get as much speed as if you do jump later, going up, getting the speed on the ball and hitting at the back of the ball. This helps a lot with the redirects and setup and the backboard reset at the end. The recoveries will be a lot harder than face back, the standing ball pack, but just keep grinding the shot and it'll help a lot for it. This shot's basically just a big grind, and every day doing it a bit. Well, not for a bit, but quite a long time, how much you can handle. As I said before, you need a very good setup. This is so the ball's in a perfect position for it to be like face pack before. And this will help a lot as your muscle memory from face pack will go on to silences pack, and therefore in-game and any setups. Having a perfect setup will help a lot to get 4 wheels on your ball and leaning back straight after your redirect. This will help your double and triple backboard resets after you can do the single a lot more having a perfect setup. There's not much else to say for the single backboard resets except just grind and grind and practice and practice. The only way you'll improve is practicing and using these small tips for your advantage, but it's mainly just you learning and you grinding it. One last thing for your backboard resets, and this is your cam work. car cam and ball cam. It will be quite hard at first, but it's just muscle memory doing the cam work. And why do this? It's a lot easier to get the shot done, and also it's a lot cleaner when you're applying for clans, more cleaner when you show your mates, and more cleaner when you post your clip or show anyone. So I'd recommend learning cam work, as it will help out a lot. So as you'll see in this clip, I've put in the bottom left hand corner what cam work I am in, and you can apply that to your game and your shot. I'm going to pause the video here to say that 91% of you aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you could go down below, hit the bell and sub to the channel, it would be greatly appreciated. I do weekly tutorials and general videos on Rocket League, and it would just mean a lot if you subbed and liked my videos, and hopefully see you in the future ones. So now for the double backboard reset. I'm not the best at these, I can do them, but I'm sure there's other tutorials out there that show it better than mine. But if there isn't, use this one, as it may help a tiny bit. But as I said, I'm not the best at it. The double backboard reset's a lot harder than the single. It's mainly just grinding the shot and mechanics being a lot better, and having the perfect setup, having the perfect backboard reset. So basically just grinding. But there is a few little tips I can give you to hopefully help this shot a lot. For example, heli stalling, basically stall cancels, getting the reset, and other little things that I'll say now. I'll start off with the stall cancels, aka heli stalls. These are when you cancel your stall and it's completely flat stall. You can do stall binds, but that's just cheating, and I think everyone should be doing them legit. And there are tutorials out there for this. I won't be going too much in depth for them in this video. I've got one tutorial for stalls as well. It'll be all in the description below, or search on YouTube. You do this by tapping the other arrow straight after your stall. This is so it cancels your stall and therefore has a flat stall. This will help a lot getting your 4 wheels on the ball after your stall on the wall. You have to have your dead zones quite high for this, as if it's really low you'll have much less consistent stalls. For example, anywhere between 0.15 to 0.4. This is my recommendation for stalling dead zones. Now you've got all this down, practice doing heli stalls without the ball in free play, and just getting those consistent and being ready to do them in the backboard reset. Also learning to do 360 stalls off the ceiling could maybe help as well. I'm not sure, just whatever you find best. Now for the next part. As I said before, having the perfect setup and having the perfect first backboard reset will help so much, and having your car below the ball when you do the stall, that will help your car go upwards and maintain the height when the ball falls down towards your car. When you stall, having a tiny bit of your car leaning upwards like before in the first reset, this can help a lot getting the reset, not having your car facing forwards or completely flat, but it can work when it's completely flat. I also find it easier when you're stalling going in a circle, and when you get the reset is when your car's facing up or when it's nearly facing upwards. I find this will help in the recovery and make it easier in general to get the reset and to get the bit after your reset to actually score the goal. You also need to judge how fast the ball's going, how far it will go downwards, or if it will just go straight back in the same direction. This can be judged by the height on the ball. It can also be judged on the speed as well. So if it goes really fast, it might not go downwards as much. If it goes really slowly, it might just fall further down more than you expect. So always judge this in mind, and it might help being quite close to the ball in some scenarios when it's going slower, maybe a bit further out when it's going faster. You get what I mean. Second to last, it's quite hard to get the recoveries, but it will just take time. As I said before, this shot's only a grind, and just keep grinding every day for it and you'll see improvement, and eventually you'll get it. This won't take a day or so, it will only take a day or so if you've got very good mechanics. But as I said, keep grinding, improve your mechanics daily, and it will eventually come, and you'll be very happy when it does come. So make sure you grind the recoveries. It's a bit different to the single backboard reset recovery, but it will be hard, and it's basically learning yourself, not seeing it off others as much. Finally, the cam work. This bit isn't essential, but it will help in scoring the goal, and as I said before, the cleanness of the shot and getting into clans can be as much as just having good cam work, and it will help you out a lot with the cleanness in your posts as well. So make sure you've got this cam work down, and in the bottom left hand corner it will say what cam I'm in at the time, and just copy that and do it in your own game and clips. So that's all for these mechanics. Thanks a lot for watching. Put your questions below and put what shots you want to see next below. I'm hopefully making a comeback. Sorry I haven't uploaded much, just had exams and not much motivation to play the game, so hopefully come back slowly. And like and sub, and see you. Welcome to a new video. This one is on the first reset, the double reset and the triple reset. Hopefully you enjoy. Few notes before I start. I have my dead zone at 0.3. This is so I can stall. If it's any lower, it will be much harder to actually stall, and you might side flip if you don't have this. You also need really good air and ball control. This is so your car and you can actually get the resets and not mess them up. I've got tutorials how to improve them in the description below. Being able to flip reset the start of this is really useful. If you can't do this, work on your mechanics and then come back to this tutorial later. You don't need to have these settings on, but if you're curious on what my settings are, these are my settings. Finally, I recommend being diamond or above. This will help your mechanics and it'll be much easier. If you've got good mechanics and a lower rank, try this video out. If not, come back to this video at a later date. And the song is Lakey inspired, Better Days if you're curious. So this is how to do the first part of the flip reset. This is very useful. If you can only do a double, this may help you get the triple as well, so just don't skip this part. And you need very good mechanics for this. So the speed at the start is very important. If you go very slow, you'll be very low in the air. If you go really fast, you'll hit the ceiling or you'll go high in the air. This is just an experiment to see how high you can get and all of that stuff. You don't want to be going too fast or too slow. Just copy how I do it, and you can see my boost in the bottom right hand corner. You need a gap between your car and the ball going up the ball. This is so your car doesn't pinch the ball, and so you can get height of your ball, making it go outfield and a good height. This is very useful in this, so this is a big part of this. You can do this by braking or just going slower before your ball and making it roll up the ball. This is where I jump off the ball, and you should as well, because when you boost up towards the ball, you want good contact on the ball to actually be able to get the flip reset. A lot of people are going really slow and barely touch the ball on the reset and then complain they don't get it, when they just shouldn't get it anyway because they've got no speed going towards it. So this is very important. One of the biggest stages there is to brake on the ball. This is essential to getting one reset and multiple as well. You can do it without the brake, but it's 100 times easier with it. Don't hold it for long, just tap it, and if you tap it, this will make it so your car is underneath the ball and therefore can get the reset much easier, and will be underneath the ball for the second and third reset as well. If you're just starting out, going up in the corner instead of the actual ball, this can be helpful and make it much easier to start off with. I recommend learning both, but mainly the wall one, not the corner one. Now for the reset part of the tutorial. This is the hardest part, and you'll see what I mean in the next step. Start off without focusing on the spins or the reset and just doing an air dribble like I'm showing now. This will make your muscle memory much better going up towards the ball. Make sure your car's in line with the ball. Just do the same motion as I shown before and just lean back a bit. This will get the reset and make it much easier to learn. And then not focusing on spins for now, just master this. Now do the same with the spins and just make your car in line with the ball and make sure that your spins are making your car being able to be in the right position for the reset. Do the same motion as before without getting the reset, but last second lean back. This is a much easier way to make muscle memory and hopefully it helps you. And all you need to do is just boost up, and whilst you've got the speed, lean back. That's it. The movement after the ball needs to be very fast and it's hard to explain. It's more you learning it and just learning yourself than anything. But if it's quite hard to explain, so I've got my controller overlay at the bottom showing you how I do it. I'm going to pause the video here to say that 91% of you aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you could go down below, hit the bell and sub to the channel, it would be greatly appreciated. I do weekly tutorials and general videos on Rocket League, and it would just mean a lot if you subbed and liked my videos, and hopefully see you in the future ones. Before the stall reset, you need to be very consistent at the first reset. This is the previous stage. Being able to air dribble off the first reset, aka having control after the first reset, this helps your double reset 1,000 times more. Or learning anything after the first reset to get more control, like a musty, classy or anything, but I recommend learning to do air dribbles off them. Your dead zones need to be around 0.3. This is so your car doesn't side flip on the stall and so you get a good stall. You need to be able to stall. There's loads of tutorials on YouTube. I've even got one on stalling, but that was ages ago, but I'll still link it in the description. Being able to ceiling stall and getting that stall reset off the ceiling will help double resets a lot. I've got a tutorial on this in the description below. Starting off, you need to boost under the ball like shown now and put in a position like shown now. This will make it so your car can stall upwards and get the reset. If your car isn't under the ball correctly, you will stall and then not get the reset because you need all 4 wheels on the ball. You can see in my car, whenever I stall it goes to the side. This won't be good when you do a double reset because it won't hit all 4 wheels. So I'll show you a trick to actually get all 4 wheels on the ball later on. This method is when you tilt your car to the side before you stall. So when you stall, your car is completely flat. Just experiment and see what position your car needs to be in before you stall. Or stall cancelling, what's done by pressing the other air roll immediately after you stall. This will make all your stalls flat and make it much easier. The recovery after the reset is one of the hardest things. Learning stealing stalls and how to recover from them helps a lot. It's hard to explain the motion you have to do after doing the stall, but I'll show a little clip now of what I do. This is when you tilt your car upwards and air roll at the same time, then boost to make your car face upwards, then boost to the ball. Remember to always hit the ball under it. This will make it harder to save and make the ball get more height going towards the goal. Now for cam work, you don't need to do this, but after the last reset and before I hit the ball, I turn to car cam. This makes it so it's cleaner, and if you're clip hitting, this makes it much cleaner for that as well. Now for the triple reset. This is much harder and you need to be very consistent at double resets. Having control or air dribbling after the double reset helps triples so much. I can't explain how much it helps, because this makes it so your car has more control and therefore easier to get the triple. Making your first reset as high as possible will help your double resets being higher up as well, and therefore makes your triple resets not really low to the floor. You need to have very good mechanics for this, so if you don't have good mechanics, just learn mechanics, and I've got a tutorial on that for console and PC. This will take a lot of time to learn, so make sure that you are patient and all of that stuff. How you shoot after the triple reset is very important, because if you wait a long time, your car and ball will just go on the floor. So if you flip up immediately or turn around and flip very fast, you should have enough time to actually hit the ball before you hit the floor. It's the same motion for the double reset, but if you get height after the double and have a lot of control after the double, it will be much easier to do the triple reset because you've got a lot of control. Learning to do the double reset really fast after the first reset is really useful, because this makes it so you've got a lot of time to do the triple. There's not much else except from learning a lot yourself and just grinding it daily. You'll get closer and closer each day. It won't happen in the first day, but it will happen in a week or a couple of weeks, so keep grinding. So there's not much else to say, so thank you for watching, and hopefully see you in the future ones, and make sure.
Welcome to a new tutorial. This one will be on Murie resets. I'll put some clips up now. I can't really do them that well, but I know how to do them. So first of all, it's a bit like the musty flick. Your car needs to be 90 degrees or whatever. So go to the ceiling and tilt your car, then backflip. So tilt your car, backflip. If it's not over 90 degrees, it just will do this, like that, and you don't want that to happen. Before I carry on the video, loads of you aren't liked and subbed to the channel, and it will help me out a lot, and all of that stuff if you do sub to me. And yep, I'll get back in the video and see you in the next ones hopefully. I'll go through a few things that you need to know. First of all, the cancel on the flip. So you do this, you need to cancel it to that position. If you don't cancel it, it will go like that and you won't be getting the reset, because it will be quite hard. So remember to cancel the flip so you get the reset. And another thing, not many people talk about this, but the more your car is tilted, the less forwards it will go, and the quicker the reset will be. So if the ball's right next to you, just lift it up more and then backflip cancel, then you'll get the reset much easier. When if it's like that, your car goes out much more, and your car does not, you don't need to cancel it as much if you're doing it further back, but it pushes the car out more, if you know what I mean. But now for this part, your ball needs to be infield, and it also needs to be quite far in front of you. Like if it's too close for here, for example, you'll just backflip away from the ball and not get the reset. So you need to be away from the ball, learn a distance to always go to, and then you need to backflip cancel like I was showing you just now. You can jump off the ceiling too, but that's a bit harder. I've always learned to not jump off and just boost down like that. That's good too, you can do both. I normally boost down a bit if the ball is near the top of the ceiling, and if let's say it's quite low down like that, you jump off the ceiling. So I said I'm not that good at them, probably need to learn them better. And another thing what's useful to know is your car needs to be facing the ball on the ceiling, like it's right in front of the ball, like that. If it's not and it's just like, say this, your car won't be facing that way. Also, don't air roll at all in it because it just messes the flip up, so it's another reason it needs to be facing the ball like that. And back flipping, because if your car is still facing the ball but you air roll, your car will go to the left hand side or right hand side. It's the same if it's over here, you can air roll and get to the ball, but that just looks really unclean. There's probably one. But now to the face ball, that means your flip can be clean and you'll get the reset because you're facing it with a clean back flip and you don't need to air roll. But now we go on to the cam work. This is more for clip hitters. So when the second your car hits the ball on the backflip reset, like when you get the reset, you need to go into car cam. This makes the clip much cleaner and better for your clips. If you don't go into car cam, it's still okay, obviously. It's just not as clean and you'll get marks down in, like, if you try and join a clan or clip just impressiveness in general. So remember the cam work, the positioning, the cancel on the flip. There's one I'll just watch the replay here. So my car's facing the ball, I backflip cancel and then car cam on. Then that's all you need to do, and good luck, hopefully you can get it. Self-analyse your own replays and all of that stuff. Watch other people's replays, see how they do it. But if you forgot, you have to be away from the ball and not close to it. And subscribe for more, comment what you want to see and all of that stuff. And welcome back to a new tutorial, and this tutorial will be on double resets. So double resets like with spins and just in general. So before I start, this is my training pack that I use and I'd recommend you use too, because if you just have the ball set it up for you going up the ball, it's not useful at all. So on the setup, as you just see there, just break here, break on that part of the ball. This is because you need to get under the ball and you have to break just before the ball too, or just let the ball roll in front of you. This is so your car and ball don't get stuck together on the ball, and it's much easier. And then, as I said before, break on the ball to get under the ball. This is really important. If you don't break, it will be much harder. And as I said too, break just before the ball. So that's where you want to break on the ball and go to the ball. Double resets is basically two main things: getting under the ball and the actual setup itself. If you don't have a good first reset setup, then it will be really hard to get the second reset. But for the first reset, you need to be able to break in front of the ball like that, and breaking on the ball too, so your car and ball has space between them. That makes it so much easier to do. So I'll do a load of examples here with a musty flick and stuff too. And when I first started doing double resets, what really helped me was doing the first reset to an air dribble or stuff after the first reset.
This will make your first setup for your first reset much easier. And of course you need to be able to stall like that. If you can't really stall, then it'll be really hard to get to your double reset. I'll quickly go over the main points again. It's just complete grinding and training this shot. Set it up yourself, don't have the ball set up already for you. Let your ball and you have room between you in the setup, because if you don't, then your shot won't really work that well and you'll just pinch the ball or something. The next point is to break on the ball and go up to the ball and get under the ball, and go fast towards the ball and just lean back, then you'll get the reset. A lot of the time people are like, why haven't I got the reset? It's normally because it hasn't touched all four wheels, or you're going too slow towards the ball. So when you've got your first reset, you're really well done and consistent. Then try to get to the second reset and it'll be much easier. So see you in the next video.